Yeah. What up? What up? It's Big Twins, aka the grimy one. Y'all know the Mobb Deep infamous clique. Yo, check it out, man. I want y'all to tap in to Cigar Talk Toronto, man. You know, they be putting it in, interviews and this and that. So check them out. Cigar Talk Toronto from Big Twin, y'all. You already know.
All right, welcome back. Saturday night, we're on the block once again, and shout out to everybody always listening on the block, keeping us in your ears and in the algorithm. We appreciate you all, and we got another great one tonight because we got hip hop artist Reno Rx with us tonight. What's going on, man?
Peace, brother. Peace, brother. Thank you for having me on your platform.
Thank you, appreciate it. So I was just looking into you a bit more, and you produce as well as rap, right?
Yeah. I was actually I started producing about probably a decade or so after I started rapping, just for convenience, because it's hard dealing with other people, producers, trying to get things done. So it just made sense.
Yeah. Um, when it comes to rapping and producing, it's two different levels of art. But what would you say you could kind of relate them together, where you could kind of say, when you're creating rhymes, it's similar to creating a beat. Like, how would you compare them?
Um, they both come from I don't know. In my case, I speak for myself, definitely. They both come from the same place. But if I could like make an analogy, it's like knowing how to do electrical work and drywall.
Yeah.
You have that much more of the picture when you start. So a lot of the times, you know, I I don't say I'm a producer. I just say I'm a rapper, but I know what the big picture is supposed to look like. So I can make that happen. A lot of these producers are much more technically involved in everything, and they know how to do all the tricks and shit. I just know how to make it sound dope.
That's the goal, right? That's the end result. You just want it to sound dope and all the technical this and that, as long as it sounds good, that's all the listener cares about, right?
100%.
Um, so part of you getting into producing, you were saying it's kind of hard to get on the same wavelength as a producer when it comes to, so you have your rhymes and you're trying to put a beat to it. Is it hard to kind of get a producer to envision what you're visioning in your head for the rhymes to put that sound to it?
Um, Not for me. Since I produce for myself, the way I go when I deal with other producers is it's whatever strikes me. Like it has to immediately move me, unless it's a situation where somebody's paying me to do something. But
Yeah.
I don't really do that a lot anymore because it's not my thing. Like I just want to do what I'm passionate about. I don't want to be beholden to anybody or subject to any terms.
Yeah.
So for the most part, it's just sound real spacey, but I just go off of vibes, man. I'm in front of that computer for hours. I'm putting the work in. That's really it.
Um, so your newest single you got out is Rapping a Young Man's Game, correct?
That's my new album.
Your new album, okay. Um, talk about that because that seems to be a term that should have been discussed a while ago and put to rest, but it seems to be getting discussed a lot more frequently these days. So talk about that term itself and what that means to you.
Um, it means exactly what it says to me. So it's not a young man's game yet because they haven't earned it yet. The forefathers are still here. They're still getting busy. And you don't have to like that when you hear it. But the truth of the matter is, if you even look at the numbers will tell you the same thing. You know, we're not imagining that rap isn't a young man's game. Now, see, the thing is, everybody, you know, rap came about from like it's a rebellious thing. They equate it to youth. So I
Yeah.
get that. That's its origins. But the creators are still here, you know, still getting to it. Matter of fact, they're getting to it the most. So when I say rap in a young man's game, it's not a shot at the youth for sure, because I really appreciate everything they're doing and I love all the new music. I'm just saying, don't discount us. Don't discount people from my generation that are still doing it, because that's just not the reality.
No, like you said, the numbers don't lie. You get a lot of the, especially overseas. Overseas has a huge, we'll say golden era hip hop fan base.
Right.
And it's one of those things that, people gotta understand, hip hop is what, 51-ish years old.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's not an old genre. It hasn't been around forever. So, when you talk about the people that started are still here today, that's a fact. And you gotta understand, a lot of people gotta understand is as the artist grows and matures, the content of their lyrics might change. But
Right.
then so is their fan base. Their fan base is growing and maturing with them. So there will always be that fan base.
There will, and you know, it's not just music. These songs, these older artists and their fan base, they have shared memories. Those songs bring, like, you know, nostalgia. They can tie them to memories, significant moments in their life. So it's more than music. And again, this not to discredit the youth, but you haven't had the chance to build that yet with anybody, or even experience those feelings really yet. You know, especially with the way music is so fleeting now. It's not like back in the day, you know, you really had to wait for a release. It was
Yeah.
build up, you know, if the promotion was good, but you know, they made you want it, and then it rocked for a while. Like you look at an album like LL Cool J, Mama Said Knock You Out. I think he dropped like 6 or 7 singles off that album. It rocked for a minute. Illmatic is still Illmatic.
Yep.
You know, what new album is having that impact?
Do you think though, like when you talk about that, these older albums having such longevity, right? Do you think that we're also in a time where the attention span is so limited that people just are not allowing something that could be a really good album to have that longevity that it would have had, say, from the 80s or the 90s?
I totally agree with that, except for one point. I don't even think it's that people's attention spans are limited. I think it's just the information overload. We're having so much crammed down, you know, our brains every second of the day. There's no chance to stop and smell the roses, you know, to
Yeah.
speak. So, you know. So I think and then are people getting dumber? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, people, I don't drop popular music. I don't write popular rhymes, you know, the easy to understand, palatable for the lay, you know. So I understand when my counterparts do it, but for me, it's not a numbers thing. And I say that because that's usually the motivation behind all these things that we're talking about.
Yeah. It's that's definitely the motivation these days is that instant, viral success. And a lot of people are kind of building their quote unquote careers off of that instead of building something that's going to stand the test of time.
Right, right. And you know, it's crazy to say. I know this is going to sound counterintuitive to a lot of people because, for the most part, musician equals businessman.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody's goal is to make money with this thing for some reason, and I know that makes sense. But at the same time, it doesn't to me, because like, where's the passion anymore? Where are the people who just want you to hear their music. Like I feel that way. That's why I think one of the first videos I put out for this album was called Is God, the slow song, rapping about the black man is God. Obviously it's not gonna get spins, in the club, but I don't care because it makes me feel good. And like I said earlier, I like to do things that I'm passionate about. And I
Yeah.
think that's lost in a lot of the artists today, not just rappers either.
No, that's across the board. Everybody wants that quick dollar, and social media kind of ruined that.
Yeah.
That's what everybody thinks, that they can just go and start a podcast or start this or start that, and then they're gonna make a fucking $1 million, and that's it. That's gonna be their way of life. But it's really not the case, and it's given people a false sense of reality.
Bingo. Yeah, the full sense of reality is a big thing. Um, People don't even know there's a world outside the computer anymore, which is kind of wild.
Social media is not real life, and I can't say that enough.
Yeah, and I'm a dinosaur. I'm 45. I'm from the 80s. I try to do better with social media because obviously I'm a musician, so you want to spread the word. But the truth of the matter is, I could care less about that. My thing is, I like spending time with my family. I have dinner with them every night, um, and exercise at work. That's it. Three
Yeah.
things. Those are what's important to me. That's wealth to me. So I don't have to chase that. I do music as a bonus.
It's a true passion for you, and that's where you deliver the best product.
Right,
Um,
right.
do you think hip hop has kind of evolved? I was thinking about this earlier, and you go back to like the 80s with different types of electronic music. You have like house, and then you get deep house, and you got techno and trance and stuff like that. And it's all kind of sub genres of the electronic genre, right? Do you think hip hop is starting to evolve to a level of that, where you have your genre, but then you're starting to get more of these sub-genres that are going to appeal to a certain type of person, like trap, for example?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like an accent. People when as it goes to different places, it migrates. It's people are gonna have their own spin on it. And that's just natural. And I think it's dope. It's a natural progression.
Yeah,
Um, and I also think hip hop has been doing that. And if we look at it, it's been really fast growing in that way, not just like, sales wise, but as far as its evolution, like you said, in the subsets and everything. So absolutely. And I think that's incredible. Yeah.
well, if you look back when hip hop started, and you look at the evolution of life and technology, and how much it's gone from 8 tracks to cassettes to CDs to MP3s, like it's advanced. Like music itself has advanced so much in the past 50 years, and hip hop was around for pretty much the start of that evolution to where we are now. So, like you were saying, it has moved at such a fast pace that it is hard to retain a lot these days.
This is so. Yeah, this is so. And honestly, I don't think the powers that be want you to retain a lot. They want worker bees. They don't need a bunch of geniuses running around having independent thoughts. So it's not part of the design. That's why, we all have to be smarter than that.
And this is where I think social media comes in, because you can connect with so many different people and really get your music heard. Whereas back when you didn't have social media, if it wasn't played on the radio or it wasn't on MTV or Rap City, nobody heard about you.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's essentially like what you're saying is if they don't want your music wasn't going to be heard back then. But now with social media, you can reach the world without having
Right.
to worry about, the man.
Yeah, yeah. There's pluses and minuses for everything. Social media. I personally Love it. I was asked recently, streaming era versus mixtape era. My thing is always streaming era because, you know, I love the competition. I love the access. And it levels the playing field. And everybody's like, oh, now everybody's got access. And yes, there are a million clowns trying to do it, but there's also kids who didn't have the means before, or wouldn't have had the means without this invention, and now they're getting a chance to feed their family.
Yep.
Those are the guys changing the game, not for nothing.
Yep. Um, Going back to you as a kid, what was your first memory of hip hop?
Oh man. So my uncle used to drive a cab, back in the days in Queens. Like there were livery services called like one was called Deborah's or something. And if you had a car, you could drive for them. So my uncle used to do that. He had this beat up old Cadillac, one of the big joints. Shit was foul, but the system was crazy in it. He came up one day, he pulled up to pick me up, and he was playing Spoonie G. What is it, PSK, I think? Those drums were going crazy, man. That shit was wild. I never looked back from there. Trunk was rattling. It was insane.
Um, so you had that first hip hop experience. Were you fascinated with it as just an art form at that point? And if not, what was your vision in becoming an MC, or when did your vision of becoming an MC kind of spark, and what was that memory?
Um, I wasn't at that point. I didn't start writing, but a few years later, I was hanging out. I was always like kind of big for my age, so the kids I hung out with were a little older. These guys, and they started rapping, and I was like the run of the pack. They just I don't even know why they let me hang out with them, whatever. But um, I just started writing. I think I always thought it was around 12, but then I remembered that Illmatic came out around 92, and that's when I would have been 12, and I was writing before Illmatic came out. So it was pretty early, but those older guys sparked my interest in it, and I just never stopped.
When so take us through some of the steps when you started writing music. Where did you go from there? You wrote some music. How did you go about creating an opportunity for yourself to record a track and start putting some music together?
I wish I could say I created the opportunity. I did. The universe had a path for me. I just wrote for years. Um, Kept it to myself, really. I mean, I think my mother knew. I was young. It turns out there was a guy who lived on the other side of the building from me who made beats. Now, in this building too, there were a few legends. There was Royal Flush. He lived right under me.
So you
Definitely
came from
legendary.
Flushing.
Yeah, Flush and Queens. Yep. On the other side of the building, Shy Skills lived. He was a producer for Onyx. He produced the whole Back the Fuck Up album, their first album. So there's a lot going on in the building. But this guy who I met, I was introduced to. His name is Jam. I had never seen him before. Big ass building. I'd never seen him before. But we linked up. I was around 14 at this time. And it was funny. I had books and books and books of rhymes, but I had never written to a beat or anything. I was just writing. So when I tried to spit the rhymes, none of them were on beat. I had to figure it out. So it took about a week or so, and I came back. I fixed everything up, and it was about a month after that I recorded my first track. And actually, we put it out. We put the album out on wax. It was called Survival Series 11355. It featured myself, another artist named Khalil, Jam, who I mentioned earlier, and
Yep.
Tribal Man.
Okay. So speaking about that, you're saying you were rhyming and it wasn't on beat. Talk to us about how the technicality behind rhyming to a beat and the difficulty it can be to sync up with a beat properly with the rhymes.
Oh, well, it wasn't. I think it's easier to write to a beat. The problem was that I was basically just doing poetry at the time. I didn't have any beats. I was just writing what came to my mind. And it rhymed, but it was just basically poetry at that point. Um the beat makes it easier. It sets the cadence. Like if you look at
Yeah.
the military, they say their cadence while they run. It always helps. The two come together and lock in. So it's harder to write off beat without a beat.
So like in that sense, so if say you had your poetry, right? How did you adapt that to the beat once you heard a beat for say that poem, how did you adapt that to the beat to make it fit?
I basically took the ideas from each line and restructured them.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the lines would fit, it would make sense, but it's basically about how the words fall on the beat. Take a few things out, add a few things.
What's um what's been some of the hardest things that you've had to navigate in being an MC?
Nothing to tell you the truth. I didn't start taking it seriously until about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Um, I was always of the mind that, I couldn't do the starving artist thing. I had my first kid when I was like 20. It wasn't appealing to me. I didn't want to chase it. I definitely didn't want to deal with the characters. So I did life. And then fast forward when it came to music, it was just at my leisure. It's because I had time. So it's a breeze for me. There are no obstacles as far as being an MC.
Okay. And touching on that point, I had big twins on, and that was his advice to anybody that wanted to get into being an MC is have a day job. Would would you say that that is highly recommended just to ensure you're not going to struggle and go hungry, that you can provide for your life while you're starting to form this MC venture?
Oh yeah, I think if you want to feed yourself and survive, you should have some kind of hustle, period, whether you're into music or not. But the dream has to be financed. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
The dream has to be financed. It's got to come from somewhere. Maybe you could find someone who believes in you who will finance it, or the best bet is to always finance it yourself. That's my thing. Do everything yourself if you can.
I uh I just seen a post literally 10 minutes before we jumped on, and it was something along the terms of, shout out to the rappers because they got it the hardest because they gotta write the rhymes, they gotta pay for the beat, they gotta pay for their mixing, they gotta pay for the engineering, they gotta pay for the album. And going back to what you're saying is that you have to be able to finance it. It's a costly business investment.
Yeah, it is, but also it goes to the old adage, um, learning to fish versus receiving a fish. This is why I learned to produce myself. Go to learn to mix yourself. All these skills that you know a novice would have to pay for are attainable. You can learn all these things. You can make an investment in yourself instead of other people. So it's a choice. It's a choice. How much do you love it? Do you want to just do the rapping part, or do you want to learn all the aspects of it? Because I saw something online too, about some CEO of some fast food place, and they were saying, I'm not just a CEO. I know how to make the French fries. I know how to make, I know how to do everything. I know how to pour the drinks. I know how to balance the books. So it's about knowing your craft.
So like talking about production, for example, because when I look back and I look at, people and, sometimes a video will pop up and be like, this is how I made this beat. For me, it just looks very complicated. So how did you learn how to make a beat? Did somebody show you and teach you? What did you literally self-taught, just watch some instructionals, or did you just grab whatever machine and just start just learning?
Yes to all of those things. It definitely wasn't a one-prong approach. I had people, guy Jam, who I spoke of earlier, another guy named Jerry. They taught me on machines like the Mackay MP60, the S950, the ASR, the Triton, and things progress. Ultimately, I rested on the FL Studio. That made the most sense for me. Um, but you have to get your reps in, no doubt.
Yeah.
There's never any getting around that. It's trial and error. You have to learn. You have to put your 10,000 hours. You had to put 100,000 hours in. Um, yeah, and it's people helping. I learned a lot. I'm still learning things every day. I just text my boy Jay Styles, who's very talented. Everything he sings, raps, engineers, produces. We were having a discussion about drums the other day, but I'm still learning. I watch the tutorials. I'll go watch one right now. A lot of the times I follow guys like Larry O on Instagram, and every time I see a post from him, he gives a lot of tips on. He specializes in FL Studio. I'm download. I probably downloaded one of his posts today just to save it so I could go back and reference it.
Um, how so like when you're making a beat, do you take any what is your kind of go-to influence for a bass? Um, do you like jazz, blues, rock? Like where do you start your samples from? Speaking of other genres, if you were to take it from other genres,
Um, so obviously funk
like
soul
what
is
moves you? You know what I mean?
what
What moves you?
what moves me. Funk
Yeah.
soul, for sure. Funk soul, gospel. Um, oh man, yacht rock kicks ass. Oh, my favorite thing though, my absolute favorite music that really gets me hyped up is fucking 80s music, man. Especially if you get into like the movie soundtracks. They had the Sims going crazy, just oh man, it was a different time. But then that's like hand in hand with the yacht rock era too. So shit from that time. Again, I'm an '80s kid though, so
Yeah.
I'm like I grew with the Sims. You know, shit like that. Yeah. And then you got my mother listening to Sly and the Family Stone. You know what they're doing. So it's funk, soul for sure. '80s music. It runs parallel with my upbringing.
So would that be kind of a basis for where your beats come from?
So aspects of it, like from '80s music, a lot of the drum patterns, like they're dope. Like especially if you take like Scarface, for instance,
Yeah.
a lot of those drums on 10 to 10, like they're more upbeat. I try to, I love the trap drums, I love the Griselda drums and everything, but that's not really my era. You know, that stuff wasn't invented yet. So I like more natural sounding things, more live sounding things. So I might take that aspect from the '80s music, the funk and soul music. I would definitely the bass lines. I take big inspiration from the bass lines from there. Gospel, just the progressions. Gospel progressions. Oh my goodness. They really go all out. So yeah, it's just different things from different genres.
Um, since you got into producing, do you produce more for yourself or other artists?
I produce more for myself because I'm very stingy. If I have a dope beat, my instinct is to kill it. So
Yeah.
there's no oversight. I'm I'm the CEO and the janitor. That beat don't make it out the building. Uh, but okay. But that being said, recently I started working on a project with an artist named Straight Paper. I think he's incredible, and oh man, so I had to. had to take a different approach with it because, like I said, I'm very selfish. So I'm going about this project like it's for myself.
Okay.
Just giving them the shit I think is incredible. And so far it's great. I'm really excited. It's making me want to get more into producing for others.
Um, you said about 4 years ago, you kind of that's when you started taking being an MC more serious.
Right.
What's been surprising to you in any fashion? Could be uh, a good way or something that you never would have thought it was that way, but it is that way. But what's been the most surprising aspect of hip hop since you started taking it serious?
The people, the people involved. But really, I found out more about myself. I should come from that point of view. I don't live a rap life by any means. Like I said, I have dinner with my family every night. I go to my daughter's ballet classes, all the things you could think of, the square suburban type of shit because I already did all of this stuff.
Yeah,
Thankfully, I'm here to talk about it, but to see people, especially when you deal with people who are my age, who are still going through that stuff, now I'm at a point where I can really recognize the dysfunction. And the shit's kind of sad to tell you the truth. And I'm not trying to knock anybody. Everybody's got to do it. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of aspects of my life people look at and they're like, this guy's off the fucking chain. But I got a structure to my shit. I got people that love me for real. You know what I'm saying? If I disappear, they'll never stop looking. Like, like a real foundation. If I need help, if I fall, I'll never fall. And neither will they. And it sounds like a small thing, but it's not. And you notice it when you have it and you're looking at others who don't. So it's kind of hard to relate outside of the music. And it's weird to be like, yeah, we're vibing, we're doing a song, we just did some hot shit. All right, I gotta get out of here. Cause outside of
yeah.
this, I can't fuck with you.
It's, I've seen people talk about that recently and talking about it, and it's nothing negative, but as you reach a certain point, you just can't associate with certain people because it's one little thing will just bring you right back. And then all that hard work, that time, the funding is gone. And for what?
Everything's going, and the worst part about all that is you're not even the one that's going to feel the brunt of it. It's going to be the ones who love you that feel the brunt of it. And that's what they don't get. And they don't have to get it because they don't, unfortunately, they don't have it. And again, I'm not trying to talk down on people doing, I'm not trying to knock them. I'm just saying, if you don't got something to go home to and live for, we can't really be sharing energies.
Yeah. It's not talking down to anybody. It's just it's life experience and life um growth. And we all reach different aspects at different points in time. And one of the biggest things is having a wife and kids to go home to that really changes how you view things. Doesn't matter what you do in life.
Right.
You could be a rapper, you could be somebody that owns a construction business, you could be a 9 to 5 office worker. Your priorities change when you have a family to take care of.
Right. Right.
And you would be surprised how many artists I talk to that are the exact same as you. They go home to their family, they take care of their kids. And again, music is art, right? You can be rapping about your experiences you had, but that doesn't necessarily mean you still live that way.
Exactly. Exactly. For me, I couldn't, like I said, I started 4 years ago. I mean, I had a deal when I was 16, but even that was like a fluke. Herbie Lovebugs and brother Steve Azar, and I was recording in their studio. I didn't know it was their studio. They walked in, offered me a deal, whatever. But it's like, I'm sorry, where was I? I totally forgot. How did we start that?
You were talking about the family aspect and having it changes your outlook, and then you went into having a deal when you were 16.
Right, right, right. Um, I didn't have. I was a 16-year-old. I didn't
Yeah,
have a, family of my own, and I ruined that deal to just being an arrogant kid. My motivations were different, and I've had a chance to grow, obviously. You know, now, and again, this isn't for everybody. I hate to try to like sound like I'm pushing my agenda, but without money as a goal, because it would be a little crazy for me to try to start a music career at 40 to earn money. Like what the hell were you doing before that?
yeah.
But there's a freedom now. There's a freedom now. And I appreciate that, but I also understand the other side that we're speaking of.
You know what? It's one of those things too. You say, money, motivation, and stuff like that, and the modern day world. Listen, we're not all living in the bush. Back in the day, growing our own crops and trading to make a village, right? You need
Right.
money, right? You got to pay your mortgage, your rent, you got to pay your bills, you got to put food in the fridge. Everything in life is money motivated to a degree, but it's how you apply what you're doing to make the money. And again, if you can build a life for yourself, see, like sometimes that struggle creates good music, but not every artist functions on that same frequency, right? Whereas some people they function more under pressure, where some people need to be able to kind of really just relax and chill to create their most their best sound.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. That's exactly the reason I started putting music out. So 4 years ago, I had a legal situation, and as a result, I was on house arrest. I couldn't do anything. So I said, well, now's a good time. I got some time, and here we are, 7 projects later. Um, but yeah, and looking back, if that situation hadn't happened, as unfortunate as it was, it's all over now. But I probably would have never put music out, and that was a pressure. I likened it to when Kobe was facing the rape charges. That he hit the court, he started going nuts.
Hmm.
But soon they was just talking about what he was doing on the court instead of in the court. You
Yep,
know, but yeah, pressure makes diamonds, as the old adage says.
it does. And quickly, while it's in my head, shout out to Indigo Phoenix because she's the one that connected us. So big shout out to her, man. She's a real dope MC, a dope human being, and she's got a real great story. So.
Yeah, that's my sister. Word, she's dope.
Um, Going back to, 13, 14, 15, Flushing, Queens, who were you listening to back in that time? Who were you musically looking up to?
My palate was crazy back then. Yo, Biggie, Nas, okay, let's just say all the New York artists pretty much. Suave House, Swisher, West Coast, everything, everything. I don't think the South was kind of like just burgeoning at that time, but when they came out, it was incredible. It was what a lot of people don't realize is, again, growing with the hip hop. Hip hop started because they took away the music classes. We didn't have instruments. We couldn't learn the instruments. So we got creative. We started sampling. We started doing shit with the turntables. Then when now hip hop, fast forward, it moves down south. These dudes are all they had was instruments down there. They didn't have a
Yeah.
lot of the shit to keep them busy. So now we see it go back to that thing that we didn't even have, and to watch it evolve like that. So I was fascinated for every. It's like an anthropology to the shit. You can watch it grow and see where it took its turn. So everything fascinated me. Plus, like I said, I was born 1980. My life ran parallel with hip hop, basically. It's only a few years older than me. Um, every change, every genre, every moment, I can relate to pivotal moments in my life. So it's that much more important to me, like it is to other people my age
Yeah.
range.
Oh, it's like the term music is a time machine.
Yeah, yeah. Yo,
We can all, we all hear a certain song sometimes and it just brings you back to an exact time and moment
mhm.
and feeling you had. And music is a very important aspect in people's lives.
Yeah, definitely. The memories it brings up is crazy. The feelings, but yeah, to go to your, oof. No, there was nothing that I didn't fuck with as far as hip hop, because everything was exciting. It was always something new happening.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
It evolved pretty quick throughout the 80s into the early 90s, like from even like the LL Cool J type to the Nas era. The evolution of the sound, right, was
Mhm.
completely different. The Run DMC to the Mobb Deep.
Yeah,
It's and I think because it was birthed at a fast evolving time period, it's always going to be rapidly evolving. And I think part of the problem is just the the people getting into it now, the younger generations just need to learn to respect the elders. Because that's what we were taught, respect your elders, right? So you appreciate those that paved the way. And that's what bothers me when I see posts, X amount years old, man, you need to hang it up and just give up the hip hop because it's not for you. You're a dinosaur now. And I mean, they're talking ages like 35. Like, where is this coming from?
it's as old as time. It's as old as time. It really got nothing to do with hip hop, but at the same time has everything to do with hip hop. In the case of hip hop, it's beneficial to push out the older people who are more knowledgeable and less likely to experience the pitfalls that a young artist is. It's more
Yeah,
lucrative for the powers that be. But if we go back into just nature and the way things are, and I don't mean just in the past, I mean even now, you know, I got a song, an interlude on this album, Rapping in a Young Man's Game, called Old Lion. And what that's about really is, when the lion starts to get old, one of his sons will try and push him out eventually. So the old lion, when they get older, they just get more ferocious because they know it's more on the line. They get crazier. And it's just the nature of things. The young is going to try to come and do away with the old. In the case of nature, they use violence out here amongst us. Sometimes we do, but most times it's just shit talking.
yeah. Well, rap beef has always been kind of part of the game, and rap beef is typically usually just rap beef. It's
Yeah.
just it's a contact sport,
Oh
and
yeah.
sometimes it brings out the best in people, and some people love doing it, to and it's not a hate or a discredit to somebody else's craft, but some people just like going at each other just for the fun of it. It's like getting in the gym and sparring. They
Yeah.
you know?
I think it's super healthy. I love it. Definitely, get it in. Every time, I think there are lines, sure, and I'm not saying don't cross the lines. I know everybody likes to, I say I'm an 80s baby. Everybody likes to say, like you just said, we were taught to respect our elders, and that's true. But there were a lot of people disrespecting people just the same as they do today.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. It's nothing new. So what do you do with that?
Again, it's part of the game.
Yeah.
It's just there's boundaries, right? And you got to keep
Hopefully.
it within the boundaries. And as long as it's kept within the boundaries, have fun.
I had a discussion about the boundaries the other day with my boy. It was so the example I used was, it was something about you don't hurt kids, you don't do something. And I said, of course, that's true. You shouldn't. That should be a main boundary. But when you get into certain things, I'm trying to be as discreet as possible. It's like if you owe somebody and you know what they're going to do to you, most times you resort to the same measures to the person under you. And it's like a trickle down effect. So it's subjective what those boundaries are, too.
Yeah,
Because the guy who doesn't want his family slaughtered by the cartel is going to go a little further than soccer mom.
yeah. No, I always say we all make choices of the lifestyles we get into.
Right, right, right.
And we all know there's repercussions to certain lifestyle choices we make. Um, some of those people have families, and unfortunately, there is collateral damage. Um, but again, I always believe in, uh, it's one of those things, like you're saying, though, you get into a certain lifestyle, you know, if they can't get you, they come for your family.
Right.
So
The
if
lines
that's
become blurred.
exactly, they get very blurred very quickly. And maybe you should pick a different lifestyle choice if you're one of those
Yeah,
believers, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's like me, I have a family. If I were to make a decision to go down a certain path, which I wouldn't because I wouldn't want them harmed because of my fuckery.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it could happen at any moment, any time. All it takes is one misinterpretation of a conversation or a word or an action, and that's it.
This
So
is
it's
true.
a very blurred area.
Yeah. And that's why boundaries, going back to that, are important because we set them for ourselves, knowing the situations we do not want to be in. And unfortunately, some of these rappers during the battles cross them, but you get what you get as far as that goes.
Yeah. Um, I'll ask you a question. People talk about top five. I like to break it down to a Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore has four heads. Give me your Mount Rushmore of MCs.
LL Cool J, Nas, I'm gonna say Timberland, but not for his MC prowess. I'll explain that after. And I'm gonna say, yeah, no, we're gonna go with those three. Yeah, I don't even have a fourth. No,
Okay,
no, no,
so
no. Biggie. I always
Biggie.
got just
Okay.
off the love. Or just off the love. Yeah, Biggie.
Um, Going back to Timberland.
So my list was based on people who absolutely undeniably changed the hip hop game,
Okay.
like a BC versus AD type of thing. Nas. Well, let's start with Rakim. Rakim obviously, brought about a more mature um lyricist. He let people know you didn't have to hibbity hop it all
Yeah.
day. which was dope. I wasn't even the biggest Rakim fan. Um, not for any reason. His music is great, but it's just I don't know. We just never aligned. But I recognize his influence and his greatness, and it's undeniable if you look at the timeline. Then we get to Nas. Nas basically did the exact same thing, but on steroids.
Yeah.
When Nas came out, it was like, all right, Kim let us know you didn't have to hip it to the hobbit. You know,
Hmm.
Nas let us know that we needed to step our games up, that it's not all right not having a wide vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? It's cool to learn and be a nerd. Then we get to Timberland. He rapped and shit, you know, obviously, whatever. So his production changed the game. He did a lot for MCs. He added a lot of color to hip hop, and you know all the double time, the beats and all that. That was not happening before Timberland. It just wasn't happening. He came with a fresh sound. LL Cool J, um, he was a real rebel because he came out at a time where everybody was pro-black. Everybody was, you know, it was self-destruction, stop the violence, blah, blah, blah. You know, African medallions. My boy came out, six gold chains, Kangol, was walking with Panthers. And you got to think, this is a kid who he was there from the inception. I don't care what
Yeah.
anybody says. He literally grew with it. And so you take a song like, if you're familiar, I know you're familiar with his catalog, Going Back to Cali, right?
I love that track.
Incredible track, right?
Yeah.
Listen to wilding, profiling,
Yeah.
wildin. Now let's keep in mind, a lot of the flows we hear now are like, you know, they're based on another flow we heard, basically. He's a 16-year-old kid coming up with this totally radical flow that in an already new genre.
Yeah.
He did it with that. I'm that type of guy. I forget other ones, but he's coming up with whole new flows. He's rapping about things that are considered taboo in the rap community at the time that we all rap about now.
Yeah.
It was groundbreaking, outrageous, you know, and he was nice like that. So that's my reason. And Biggie, um, that boy was just dope. We have to consider he died at a very young age too. There's no telling what
What was
levels
it,
he would
20,
have brought.
26?
Was he 26?
I think it was around 26. Yeah.
Oh, I think he was younger than that. I
Yeah.
think he was younger than that. But there, that's my reason for naming the names that I did because their influence was just undeniable.
And going back to that track, going back to Cali, that's still a track to this day I still like to put on in the car, go for a cruise in the summertime. We don't have palm trees or nothing around here, but we can envision it, right?
Absolutely. We all did when we I'm from Queens and he's from Queens. None of us saw a palm tree, but he was talking about it.
Yep. And I think LL Cool J, he does get his flowers, but he doesn't at the same time.
100% agree.
And he's such um an inventor, and he opened up the doors for a lot of people. And even still to this day does a lot for the hip hop culture.
Absolutely.
And he
Yeah.
doesn't get the credit he deserves.
No, I don't think there's enough credit for him. He's incredible. But I think that goes for a lot of people. Of course, when he dies, you know, a million people will start
They're gonna love
recognizing.
him then. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but his all of those guys that I talked about, their contributions are undeniable. Like
Yeah.
you can have your opinion on them or whatever, but what they did is what they did. And to me, that's what gets you on that Mount Rushmore.
And that's why I like to ask that question, because you get because music is like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
And I like to get different people's perspectives of who their top is and why. Because there's always a reason for why. And it gives an insight into how you view hip hop.
Right, 100%.
And on that note, we're about to cut out on the block. That hour flew by.
Wow.
Let everybody know where to find you, and anybody you want to shout them out.
Definitely. First I want to shout out you, my guy. Again, thank you for having me on your platform, Cigar Talk of Toronto. Shout out to you. Indigo for linking us. My brother Nice the Future, Ito, Jay Rios. You can find me on Instagram, Reno_RX_. Um, my music is on all platforms. I have a new album out called Rapping a Young Man Game. Let's go run those numbers up. Videos all over YouTube. Just type in Reno RX. It's the future, baby.
There we go. Make sure everybody go head over to YouTube and Instagram, Reno_RX. And while you're there, cigartalk_Toronto. Give us a subscribe and a follow as well. I always say time is the most expensive currency because you don't get it back. And I appreciate your time. And it was a blessing and an honor to have you on.
My God, appreciate you.
All right, man. We're out. Peace.
Peace.
I want to send a special shout out, Cigar Talk Toronto. Special shout out to Croatian Mafia Cigars. It's for the gangster in you, nigga. It's for the gangsters. DJ Mikey G. Put some cut on that dope. Lefty Pacino. Take it personal. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We got them ruggin'. I'm your favorite uncle. I'm the alcoholic street niggas with the guns and the duffel. I'm the one that used to smoke the cigar and whip the truffle. The one that Granny said always started trouble. The back quarter shot a triple-double. Coach kicked me out the gym cause the gun was bigger than the muscle. Now let me introduce you to the hustle. I whip the white till it locked and snip the residue above my knuckles. The epitome of street scuffle. I hit him hard with the banger. I was trying to make the belt buckle. I hit the corner and I make it bubble. What's in the pocket of my goose will make your feathers ruffle. I don't trust you. Make the gauge bust you. We keep the circle tight. You just another square if we don't discuss you. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We gotta plug in. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We gotta get pillage through your village. Leave my spillage on your mistress. Attacking everything you go on the hit list. Burn the evidence, witness. Told the lawyer eat the case with the biscuit. Looked the judge in the face and told him stick it. Smacked the plaintiff in the face and told him fix it. Tapped the Henny on the bottom, then we lift it. Fully equipped, the blue beamer and it's kitted. Bend the corner 730, then we hit him. The bars leave a bad taste, so I spit them. Machete 50-50 sharp, so I split them. The black expedition put me in position. Focus on the mission, full tunnel vision. Every verse calculated, spoken with conviction. My condition is to grind every day by tradition. Built it from the dirt, self-made composition. Competition for using in every breath is ammunition. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We gotta plug in. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We gotta get